Just letting your body and your mind rest. You've been using your body and your mind all day, non-stop. You can give them a break. Just use your attention. You can stop counting. Just rest a few moments. Simply here and now. Without trying to do anything. Letting the stillness of this moment penetrate your body and your mind. You don't have to do anything, just allow it to happen. Notice how tension is released from your body as your mind calms down. So most people doing this, you will get a calm state, which is good. But meditation is meant to take you deeper. It's meant to make a real, long-lasting change. For that, in the very beginning, we're going to use our mind to discern, to notice subtle and profound aspects. I want you to notice just this sense of presence here and now. Once your body and your mind are calm, this effortless sensation of existing. You don't have to do, you're just aware. Now we're going to use our mind, so recall happy moment in your childhood. As soon, as early as you recall. Maybe you were 3, 5, 7 years old. Doesn't matter. Just pick one of these early memories you have. It was a good moment. And don't get into it. Just notice how it was to be there. Notice how the presence that helps you notice you're here and now, it was exactly the same presence that it was there at that time. Although your body and your mind were very different. Skip a few years later, maybe a memory from school. Notice how it was to be there in school. Don't get into the story. Just remember the sensation of being there, the physical sensation of being there in school. Being experiencing that moment. And now come to this moment again, in space and time, and notice how your awareness, there is something in you that has never changed. Feel how is the same presence. Go now to your teenagehood, teenage years. Maybe recall a time with a friend or some place you used to go. Remember the vivid sensations of being with your body and your mind at that time. How it was to experience the world, having a body, air, light, colors, smells. Notice the awareness that recognize that perception and compare it to the one you're having right now. Your mind, the content of your mind are different. Your body sensations are also different. But the essence of existing in that moment and in this moment are the same. Your attention to the detail, don't make any intellectual effort. It's supposed to be pretty much effortless. If you cannot recall the memories, just stay here and now, feeling the presence of this moment. Not go to any other memory. Just find a place, space and time where you've been. Doesn't matter what it is. Maybe a vacations with certain people, certain places. Just pick one randomly and recall all the details of the scene. How it was to be alive on that specific moment. But I'm not talking about your thoughts or your physical sensations. I'm talking about the awareness of being alive. And you come back to this moment can go back and forth from any other moment in your life to this one and notice the background of the experience, the aliveness, the awareness. Notice how there is a part in you that is not affected by time or conditions. It's just pure attention. It is the light from which you notice the movie of your life. It is the same light at any given moment, anywhere. It is so close to you that it's closer than your thoughts and your physical sensations. You don't need to make an effort to notice it. On the contrary, you can only relax and notice that which is always present, no matter what. Now go to a moment where you felt happy. Just recall the emotion. You don't need to make the whole scenario. Just recall what it is to feel happy in your body and your mind. And notice how that which notices the happiness in the body and the mind is the same than in any other emotion. You can go to a moment where you felt sadness or you were angry or feeling any kind of negative emotion. That presence that was noticing that emotion was exactly the same. Notice the contrast between the different emotions you experience. And now you can let go of this recalling exercise. Just stay in this moment and notice the emotion that you have right now. Notice how it was different this morning, the afternoon, probably this evening, your body and your mind, they're going to be fluctuating into different emotions and states. But there is something in you that which observes all that states that is always the same. So this emotion you're feeling now, you know it's just going to go away, transmute into something else, which is okay. You're just observing. Observing that which observes. All emotions are observed by the same quality, same attention, the same aliveness. Emotions come and go, but you're still there. Sometimes you may feel angry, but then it goes away. Sometimes you feel happy and it goes away. You are not happy or angry. You are just feeling the emotions. The emotions happen like anything else. They come and go. Look for that which observes all the emotions. Observes happy, observes suffering, your mind, your body, your emotions are always fluctuating, but there is something that is always there, the same. Just noticing that you're alive. It's a part of you witnessing everything, every change, staying the same. It's the same when you are 3 or when you are 73. It's exactly the same aliveness and awareness. Now we narrow even more into this moment. Just notice how in this very moment things are fluctuating in your body. How sensations come and go. Maybe there's a hearing sensation, comes and go. Maybe you notice a part of your body. It comes and goes. Relax. Let the perceptions of this moment appear and disappear spontaneously. You don't have to do anything. Sensation from your body, your environment, your mind. Everything comes and goes. You may even have reactions to sounds or feelings in your body. But that which observes everything is completely neutral. It's not affected by the observation. It's just still in the background, letting everything flow in and out. rest your mind, rest your body. And just observe like a cat watching mouse hole, fully relaxed, but fully alert at the same time. Notice every sensation of this moment, how they appear and disappear. And you're there, always. Your mind will try to think out of habit. That's okay. Just relax. It's not an activity what we're doing. It's a non-activity. Letting everything go, just resting in the sensations of this moment. Completely surrender. You're safe. It's delicious to rest in this moment. Have nothing to do. You cannot do it wrong. There are no wrong sensations. You're not trying to control anything. You're just noticing how even the perception of your body is sensations coming and going. You may notice your leg at some point, and then it goes away. You may notice your eyes, and it may go away. It's like fireworks of perception popping in your experience effortlessly. Just make sure that you notice everything. The more you notice this moment, the calmer your mind is. Rest and enjoy the simplicity of this moment. Your mind will tend to distract you. You may start reacting to a sensation. Just let go, you're safe, nothing's going to happen. Just hear every sound. Notice your breath. Just openly notice anything that pops in your experience. surrender completely. There is nothing to do. You're just resting, the most basic, essential awareness of this moment. It's not something you have to do. It is always there. Just notice how sensations come and go. And your attention stays the same. When you're attending, you're silent in your mind. Just rest. Reduce doing and reacting to the minimum. Thinking decreases and the sense of presence increases. No matter how many times you get lost in your mind, just relax. Just notice how things come and go all the time in your experience. Thoughts come and go. Feelings and reactions come and go. Sensations come and go. Sounds come and go. It's a flow. But there is something that is changeless, that observes all that changes. Let your body relax. Surrender your mind. How much can you surrender to this moment? Surrender all your concentration on thinking, daydreaming, and just relax. you perceive all experiences at the same time coming and going, the easier it is to rest in the pure neutral awareness that is noticing everything at the same time. It doesn't matter which sounds, which sensations come in and out. Don't react to them. Reacting is thinking. Just witness everything at the same time. Your body is completely relaxed. Your breath flows slowly and gently, effortlessly. Your mind may have sometimes some compulsive thinking, like the sounds in the street, just coming and going. But the presence that you are is here before, during, and after any thought of any sensation. The less you concentrate on your thinking, the more awake and alive you are. Just rest in that recognition that there is something in you that notices everything, but it doesn't change. Just surrender any intention of controlling or even trying to meditate. Your openness, your attention, it is always there. You don't need to react or to think because of any sound or sensation. Just relax in the sense of presence that embraces all experience. There is something in you that is at peace and is always welcoming any experience. Just need to relax and rest in it. Just surrender. Relaxation is deeper and deeper. There's a crispy vividness and wakefulness, like you've never been so awake. Like there is only this moment that is real. And your mind is almost absent, almost not moving. Sensations come and go, thoughts come and go. The whole experience of this moment is fluctuating, and yet there is something in you beyond your body and your mind. It is observing how your body appears and disappears, your mind appears and disappears, the world appears and disappears. There's a constant background which is always present and still. Just rest in it. And let the world, your body and your mind take care of itself. You're resting awake. Your body and your mind are sleeping, and yet you're more alive than ever because you notice everything. Just rest. Enjoy the peaceful background of awareness that allows this moment to happen. Just surrender to the stillness, which is the axis from where everything comes and goes. You don't need to do anything. Just rest. Recognize that you exist effortlessly. Keep your body fully relaxed, almost asleep. Your breath flows deep and effortless. Don't let your mind contract your attention. Keep an open attention to everything at the same time. Just rest in this open awareness that embraces everything on real time, happening, comes and goes, comes and goes. Just rest in the peace that never moves. Surrender. You're safe. Doesn't matter how many times your mind tries to kidnap your attention. Just relax. Notice everything coming and going, changing on real time. How much can you surrender yourself? We are about to finish this exercise. Just as an experiment, try to see how deep can you let go of the compulsive contraction of attention in your mind. Just experience this moment directly. Whatever it is, whatever comes, whatever goes. Just open and welcoming every experience and resting beyond every experience. deep can you relax? Now you can try, you can stop trying to meditate. Just relax. Enjoy the sweetness of resting, a peaceful mind. Take your time. Enjoy yourself. reason why we suffer, when you're experiencing suffering, any kind, you will most definitely find that you are contracted and you're following an experience. You're divided. All meditations ultimately lead you to recognizing like the salmons that go upstream, going back into the source of your attention, of that which is perceiving the world. Why? First thing, you will find it relaxing. That's good. But ultimately, if you, to the extent that you could today follow the exercise, but did it make sense for you to talk about contrasting your past experiences and this moment? Do you know why people, when they're old, they say, I feel like I'm 24. They're old, man. Do you feel like that a little bit? Do you? It's not a rhetoric question. Do you know what we're trying to discuss in here? Okay, thank you. No, thank you for your honesty. Sometimes people, oh yeah, just. But if you do this work in depth, I really understand how it may feel confusing at first to do this exercise as we did. I know this exercise from shamanism, and you basically, first thing, you just write down your life from this moment to the very first memory you remember from your life. It takes you a lot of weeks. All the people you met, all the places you've been, everything, to write it down, a list of everything. You chronologically put it back down to the source, back down to all that you remember. And through that exercise, which is obviously a way deeper exploration, and then you see it and start coming. The more you go through it, the more you pull the thread, the more clear it becomes. You start, I remember, and everything start coming to you. The more you go into that experience, at some point you start noticing there is something that no matter what your life changes, for the good or for the bad, there is something that still remains the same always. Why is that relevant? Because it's the end of suffering. For me, it's like, how you call it? In the amusing parks, we have this thing that goes around, with horses for kids. How you call that? Carousel. Yeah. Our experience is like a carousel all the time. And if you're focused too much on the detail, let's say a thought that crosses your mind and you just follow it without thinking. This is the normal condition for humans. You notice that when you try to sit to meditate, you try to focus on something and you're all the time away. Suddenly notice you are contracted all the time in your thinking. Hopefully with a bit more practice and time, you start letting go of that and you notice, okay, thoughts come and go. There is something in you remains all the time. There's a sense of presence that starts growing up. It's as if when you're in the edge of the carousel, especially if you're moving on your own self, everything seems to be just random. Everything seems to be incredibly confusing. That's the definition of suffering. When you're suffering, you feel like that. I know it requires some investigation to say, oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, but think about it. You're always confused. It seems that you're missing something whenever you suffer. And if you reverse the process of you start not letting your attention just go stray on the problems that you have in your life, on the reasons why you should feeling like this or like that. Start retracting your attention. You're not really retracting, you're just becoming aware of the underlying processes of just being here with this body here and now. Start releasing some of that, and as you go closer to the center of the carousel, things start just stabilizing. And this is exactly what you should feel in meditation. To feel that little by little, with the different kinds of exercises or experiments you do, you sort of get to something that is there all the time. That's the goal. That it is there all the time. So it's not a goal in time. And the more you go to the center, I'm pretty sure some of you, especially those of you who meditate, have noticed there's this specific flow of coming and going, of experience in this moment. Your thoughts, like the sounds on the street. At some point, that's a very beautiful spot. In Buddhism, they make a lot of emphasis for a very good reason. There is something that grows in you. And that thing that grows in you is this sense of stability. You start feeling a sensation that your thinking comes with all these problems. Your body says, oh, I'm uncomfortable in here. Or and you start noticing that it's just flowing. And something in you must be still in order to notice these things are flowing. Something you must be changeless in order to feel this change. Does this make sense? No? Yeah, okay. Okay, did it feel calmer towards the end? I'm talking about the exercise. Okay. Did it feel like you were letting go of more superficial, fragmented activity of your mind, like a daydreaming, back into a sense of a very simple sense that is obviously always here, where you just feel in your body and you feel, I'm in this moment in time, so much that if you nurture that sensation of being here and now, at some point it becomes so intense that you kind of forget a little bit what your life is like. Being what? Everybody will experience different, but there is a sense of peace and calm that comes out of not letting your attention, your life force, being continuously absorbed by different flows of perceptions and experiences. That's what drives us crazy. Like everything is wants something from me. I have all these responsibilities and I have all these things, and the more you go through time, the more you accumulate of this. So living starts obviously becoming more and more complex. But in the other way around, if you recall what is to simplify your life to the point of, I'm just here. I mean, let's say an activity that you enjoy. What is an activity you enjoy? Yes. Something you really, I'm so looking forward to that. It's probably a hobby, maybe. What? What is that? Sports. Oh, going to the fitness studio. Okay, when you go into the fitness studio, well, the fitness studio is very obvious why that's going to take you out of your office or problems in your life. You're just there. Suddenly the experience of being here and now becomes more clearer than you're thinking, right? Yeah, the perception of trying to force yourself into probably improving your skills in this moment is just taking away everything else. And that everything else is a constant ruminating software that is all the time and creating a problem. Is that we live too much in there. Our attention is continuously absorbed by that. That's why we like so much to go into different activities which kind of root you here and now. Well, meditation is extrapolating that quality from any activity and creating it on itself, the practice of being here and now, of grounding in the most simplest essential form of existing, and making that as continuous as it could be, not just for a specific experience, which is great, But you can let go of that to the point that you can find the center of your experience no matter what. And that's the way to get away from suffering into peace. And I say peace because that's the easier to understand. There's a lot more to it, and every person will pick a different word. But definitely peace, I think it makes a lot of sense. Aren't we all living a life which is very stimulated? It's not everything. I mean, just your phone probably just constantly bombarded. And can we actually manage our attention? I mean, we have the illusion of everyone you will ask and say, are you conscious of your choices and your life? They will say, yes, absolutely. But you have to analyze your thinking process. You will notice that you're actually not. For that, the best exercise is to sit and try to concentrate on anything. And especially, this is something everybody knows, when you're emotionally disturbed, you will say you cannot concentrate on anything, not even a conversation, right? So that thing is happening all the time. That is suffering when you bring it to a constant ruminating in the background of our lives all the time. That happens. And meditation, just like any activity, you look forward to give you that break. It's just that most of the time we use physical experience like jumping out of a plane to take us out of thinking, which is why not? But you don't need to. You can feel exactly the same just without needing to jump out of a plane. So the more you simplify your experience of being here and now, the more you start finding something that is constant. Yes. Yeah, I know. Sorry. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yes. The problem is that we don't notice it. I mean, we are on the same page. I have a life as comfortable as anyone else. So when we're discussing suffering here is something that you will definitely notice when aging, illness, and death comes around. That's the moment you notice you're just putting an illusion. We're just blindsiding ourselves all the time into different things. Some people have suffering, maybe any kind of anxiety, any kind of depression, any kind of, social anxiety, obviously, any kind of disorder, any kind of, you don't wake up in the morning really looking forward to live your life. And not because you're motivated to earn more money or something like that, just because you actually enjoy your life. I will go out and say that that's not the normal state for most humans. Is it true? Or I'm confused? Okay. Yeah, most people is the normal state. It's just that we don't notice. Yes. No, they don't. They're not really enjoying every moment of their life to the point that they don't care so much about what happens. Like when you're on vacation, like, oh, I missed the bus. Okay, fine. Just gonna enjoy the views from here, right? That's not what we normally see. It's like, oh, damn, I lost the bus. That obviously is making an extreme out of the situation. But in a subtle way, we are all the time feeling that we have all these responsibilities. We have all these reasons why we are not like a child enjoying every moment, every time, everywhere. And that's kind of the suffering we're discussing. It's just that it will become more evident when you face a situation. As I said, I think illness and death is normally a good trigger. And then the regular trick we are playing on ourselves in terms of identity just falls apart completely. And then when that happens, you notice what is below. I mean, people know it. When you go to sleep, you will pay attention to what crosses your mind and your body. Doesn't say. Most people are very, very tense. So much that less and less people have less deep sleep. But anyway. I hope I'm making sense. Thank you. No, I just want to, I'm really not interested in going here and just throwing a speech or anything like that. I just want to try to relate the experience of meditation to something that is directly practical into life. Okay, so the more you retract your attention back to its source, you're probably seeing with all this contrast between past and future and all this thing of just retracting your attention from experience, like, oh, someone moved, I'm annoyed by this person moving on my side, or I don't know, whatever it was, a regular reaction that we are just triggered. Suddenly, if you really just relax and chill and chill and chill and just pay attention, at some point you start able to disengage from these automatic behaviors of reaction and mental activity. And hopefully most of you, at least proportionally, felt some sense of ease, like, okay, people are moving, there's something happening, but still I feel some space from where I can just relax. Did that happen? Okay, good. So that goes on and on and on. And at some point, the more you study this direct experience of this moment, the more clearly you perceive this coming and going of things, your thoughts, your sensations, and everything. And as I was saying before, the more everything moves, the more you steady become. You sort of go, in order to see the building, you go out of the building, right? In the similar way, once you observe all the movement inside of you and outside of you, at some point you sort of revert to a very, very basic sense and layer of being alive and existing in this moment, which is a way, in the sense of you kind of subtract, you reabsorb your attention back to the most essential way of existing. And then from there, you see your body, you notice your body, you see your mind is happening, and you are observing that. To some extent, that's something you all have noticed, right? You can see your thoughts, right? That's why how you know you're thinking, right? So there is something in you that it must be sort of beyond your thinking, right? There has to be some distance. So in meditation, you just dwell on that observation, and the more you dwell on that, the bigger the distance. Not that it goes anywhere, but this disidentification to the point that, well, the mind loses its energy. It's normally fuels out of our attention. So when you start just focusing on something else, your mind starts losing momentum. So normally that is for most people, oh, that feels chill, good, I like meditating. But that's not really the point of it. Once you start observing, you actually focus on it. I won't suggest, unless you have a lot of practice, to really focus much on your mind, because your mind, out of habit, it will suck all your attention right away. So it's a lot easier to focus on your breathing, to focus on direct physical sensation, and that calms the mind. It's super easy. It works every single time. Do that. But once everything comes down and you notice that your mind just comes like the sounds in the street, your mind just comes with a thought like, oh, maybe I should move. Am I doing it right? Or just thinking about anything else. You just notice there's some kind of disidentification. You just notice this thought just came to me. I didn't pull that thought. I didn't create that thought and I think it. It just comes and goes like anything else. Does this make sense? So the more you start deconstructing your experience to a degree that the more this background of attention, which is actually the only thing, when you tear apart everything and you notice, okay, let's go back to, it's not an analogy, it's actually how it is. Babies, when they are born, they don't understand anything, but they don't even understand that they are something. So they cannot distinguish between their body or anything else. because you need to think for that. So in the very beginning, they just don't know. They just start noticing that something comes and goes. They change the place to a different room, and little by little they start separating their body from the rest. And that they do for a couple of years, and they start doing it psychologically. They start saying, me, no, mine. Right? You start suddenly notice, wait, I'm a thing. Which is great, but it's exactly the first steps to meditation, really. We could say that in terms of evolution, we are in that process of understanding what we are. And so you're born as a baby, you just this thing, and you say, I am my body because I changed rooms and I changed things, and my body's always there, right? That's the way how a child, baby, this case, but ourselves too. When someone says, oh, you're a clever person, you say, oh, really? You just start recognizing yourself and defining yourself through everything around you, right? And everything comes and goes. So whenever you find something that it never comes and goes, you say, oh, that must be me. Right? That must be the truth. That must be me. If I go and I move, then I am my body, because everywhere I go, my body is there. Right? Makes sense. But some sort of we stop in that evolution and we stop there, our body. But what happens if you keep doing the same investigation with your body? A lot of very interesting things start happening. First thing, if you stop thinking, as your mind start releasing that background activity, you start noticing many things you didn't notice before, right? If you're thinking, you don't notice stuff. But when you stop thinking, so you just notice that this moment becomes more, you can observe things you didn't notice before, right? So in that way, you notice I know you're going to make a concession with me, but it's kind of like a pointer. It's like a kind of a challenge to see if the same for you. But if you start observing your body, it's never like one thing. You really have to naturally, profoundly observe your body. You'll notice that it's a coming and going. Sensations, different parts of your body. It's just that we just restructure it as a thing, my body. But it's just sensations coming and going. I know that's quite a stretch, but it's a very useful one. A bit easier is our mind, superficial mind. You can see the thoughts coming and going, right? So, therefore, we're not our thoughts, right? It comes a thought or an emotion. We were talking about emotions before, right, in the exercise. An emotion of anger comes and we say, I'm angry. But we are not really angry. Angry just happens. We feel it. But it goes away. So you must not be angry because it just disappeared and you're still there. What? In the moment when it happens. And it goes away. So there's no anger, hopefully right now. So you could tell, okay, this is not me. How do you know? It just appears and disappears. And I'm there all the time. Yeah, that is where the confusion and the suffering happens. Because we are so deep into the movie that we take it as ourselves. So every thought that crosses our mind is true, and we follow it emotionally. One of the huge deep benefits anyone will take out of meditation is that you will see your thoughts of things that triggered you before coming and passing your mind. Like, it comes, there it goes. The impulse of doing that thing you shouldn't do. Or you repressing and not following that impulse that you know you should be following and you should be doing, like being kind to someone or something like that. At first but once you just release it, you still see the flow of it. And the more you see the flow of it, the easier to take out all the things you are not. So it is a process of we are identified with our mind and our body, right? That is just undeniable for most humans, right? I am my body, I am my mind. You do anything to this, I get you. Right? It's all about, our life is all about making our body comfortable. In our minds, right? So we're really fully living that truth, which nobody denies. But the question is it really the truth? It's an open question. Of course, I don't want you to tell me that I'm right. It's more like what we're trying to find, okay, if that principle of happening and not happening means that there is something in me that stays when this comes and goes, it must be something more. It must be something more than my personality at work. Maybe at work you're funny or serious, but it comes and then it goes away, right? When you're with your friends, you're probably different. So that's a part of you some way, but it's not the real you. The real you must be something that is there all the time. So this is a process that for most people take many, many years. So I'm saying that it makes sense if you don't feel, you think, oh, okay, I follow the logic of it. It just still, for me, it doesn't, because the statements especially they're gonna make now, seem a little out there. But it's important, I think, to notice how simple it is. The trouble we are in and how to get out of it. It's all about attention. First thing, noticing how our attention is already trapped in many things you don't ever choose, mostly your mind. So first step, just relax. Let your mind lose its momentum. And at some point, when your capacity of observing something like your breath or anything else becomes steady, that moment you may be strong enough, instead of disidentification, to start focusing on your mind and notice how it comes. A thought comes and a thought disappears. And once you do that, your whole personality is going to fall apart. Because all our suffering relies on the idea that we are something. We are our body and our mind, and we are separated from the rest of the world. Everything, this is me, and that is not me. This is someone else's business, I think, right? This the culmination of selfishness, right? But it also feels really bad. Just that we don't notice. So if you do that exploration, you start taking away these layers of compulsive identification. You don't know why you're paying attention to that, and probably in a negative way. Many of you felt maybe you wanted to sleep one night and you were so drawn emotionally in what person did to you, or something that you feel you cannot manage yourself. You want to just to be calm, and well, that's a good point to make the point of suffering in this context. It's not just someone in the most brutal, direct way suffering, but we're discussing about the background of noise, of pain, and existential angst we're living in that is so constant that we don't notice it. That's the problem. So first step is to notice it. And when you sit to meditate, you're going to find that. You're going to find a lot of uncomfortable feelings. You're going to find a lot of things you don't want to see. But there's a reason why to do it. And it's that if you keep on peeling the onion of your experience here and now, you're only going to find something that stays beyond all that. And it's impossible to define, because at some point you get to the point where you're observing something that cannot be observed, that cannot be perceived. Because anything that is perceived is moving, right? Sort of. It's appearing and disappearing. You're seeing it, you're noticing, you're sensing it. But at some point, you retract that to the extreme. That thing that will be like the projector that's projecting the movie, which is a white light from the other side of the world. There is something about your experience here and now. It's nothing mystical. It's nothing magical. It's nothing supernatural. It is nothing, but it's already yours. But it's completely unnoticed because we are pulled by all these tendencies. Unconscious. Your attention is jumping from things without you noticing, and you're having emotional reactions to things that you never decided to pay attention to. So retracting your attention to the background of all these experiences leads to And I know, some of you know what I'm talking about. Actually, all of you know what I'm talking about. It's just that it would take me some time to put the dots together. But the definition of peace is calm, right? I know it's just words for feeling. It never makes justice. But if you think of something peaceful, you feel a resting sensation. Most people need to go on vacations to a place where it's big and huge and there is no one else to feel peaceful. But good news is that no, that sense of peace is the unraveling of all these involuntary attachment of your attention to things that you never decided to, which is mostly thoughts in your mind and reactions in your body, but mostly thoughts in our minds. You start observing your mind just by the fact of detaching from it. You start releasing all that attention. You have more attention, you have more liveliness, more love, more kindness, more joyful sense. But most importantly, or something that I would say is very realistic for anyone who seriously attempt this, you'll find peace. A peace that is not dependent on anything that happens. And that's the best anyone can sell you in this life. Isn't it? Or our life we've been sold is dependent. Or our happiness is dependent on things. But what all these sages from all time tell us is that no, you're never really going to find lasting happiness in that way. Even when you succeed and make everything happen the way you want it, you just know. At this point, everybody knows to some extent. We all try to make it work in the way you want it to be. It just doesn't work. You get the career, you get the mansion, you get the cars, your relationship fails. You get the relationship, you get the cars, your health fails. Isn't it clear? Some way, it's a really bad strategy. It's the best we got. That's why culturally we all go on. Oh, you still motivate yourself to get to a better place, because otherwise this is just so bad. But we're just running away from ourselves. That's the problem. You never get to a point where you make the world be the way you want it to be. At least not for more than 1 minute. So the solution is, the world is already fantastic and perfect. The only problem is that our attention is trapped in thinking. And there are a lot of biological reasons why that would happen in terms of survival. So I'm not saying there's, but you can release your attention from it. You can get yourself to the source of attention itself. And that is peace. That is what is being described as enlightenment. When someone becomes so profoundly, I say profoundly compared to but it's every word is really bad for talking about this, but just following what we're discussing. The moment when you will be dying, I don't know if you've ever been in a very extreme moment in your life. I think many of you, most people have been in a very, very, so intense that it completely took you. It was probably a life-threatening situation, right? Or something that it was emotionally, like you saving the life of someone else, hopefully. Something very intense. I'm pretty sure life took you some moment that it was so intense that there was something like an extreme version of the gym where everything just, there's a heightened sensation of presence. It's so intense that nothing else can exist. You ever been in a car accident, for example? Do you notice how the time slows down, especially in a very dramatic moment? There are a lot of things, but do you know what I'm talking about? If you recall that moment, if you think about your inner process in that moment, not the circumstance, you notice there were like a very intense sensation of presence, just pure attention. So, your mind at that point, your ego is just like on a trip. It doesn't even exist at that point. You are so focused on that emergency that everything's gone. Well, that's that not in an alarming sense, but in the same kind of acute perception in terms of vividness, is that awareness that perceives everything. So it's so incredibly all embracing that not even your body sort of melts. Seems that your body is moving. Like when you're dancing, you're not aware of every move you do, right? Your body's just doing it. And many times you're talking, do you really decide every word you're saying? Right? Everything seems to be just automatic. In the same way, everything starts just flowing and automatic, and you're resting and witnessing where everything just happens. And that's the way to liberation. That's the point of meditation. And it's a big deal. It's not just healthy for your brain or it's going to get you out of stress. Now, if you meditate properly and you get to this profound state of relaxation and vivid awareness, it should change your life forever. It's not that it changes anything. It's just that it becomes so clear, the vividness, the crystal presence of the moment, that's something you cannot forget it anymore. I know I'm pulling it a little too far, but here's the thing. The reason why I go that far is because you all know what I'm talking about. Just that it's a little bit deeper in our regular consensus of agreement of what the world is. And yet, it's an experience without words that everybody knows of. It's just that our mind just denies it. That's why not only that people wouldn't remember their dreams most of the time, but we think we completely disappear when we are deep sleep. Right? Most of us consider that when you're deep sleep, you're not aware of your mind, you're not aware of your body, you're sort of like, I don't know, which is the weirdest thing in the world. Just think about it. You sort of die every night. Just disappears. Just that you think, oh, it's no problem. Here's the thing. If you keep unraveling and becoming detached of your mind, your body, you can still be present during your deep sleep. I'm throwing this as something very familiar. I'm not talking about any outrageous experience from an old sage in many years ago. No, it's something you can relate. You're there. And here's the thing. It's the funniest thing. That's the reason why I give this. I'm talking about something that apparently some of you may even disagree, which is great. But here's the thing. It's an actual fact. It's like when you knew you had to wake up and you just woke up without an alarm. You had that. It's a very funny thing because at that point you can notice, oh, there was something that's even aware of time while you were sleeping. It's a little creepy, I know. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's more familiar. In a sense that you need to let go of your mind, otherwise there's no chance you could recognize that already perfect peace and happiness that is in you all the time. I mean, just last point. Start this identifying with your internal processes of compulsive behavior. Think about something that triggers you in your day. Some of you may become angry, or some of you may become depressed. Some of you because, I don't know, stress. And we suffer, right? That will be the definition of suffering. We get compartmented in this little bit that is trapped, as frustrated it is. At that point, you need to force life to be different, right? What if that is just a limited perception of what's happening. And I mean this in a practical sense, and an experience that I really, really, and will be the reason why I'm here, sitting here, why I'm organizing these meetings. So something I want all of you to sort of remember, because even when it may feel different, that the way you've been embracing certain things in your life, in a way will feel the most familiar thing in the world. And here's the thing. If you will be able to observe your anger, your depression, your stress, as it happens on the spot, you're already out of it. I know it's strange, but it's an actual fact. The same way that you observe your mind, you can observe your emotions. Obviously, you do, right? If you stabilize your attention to the degree that you can notice all this movement and you're still there, at some point you're going to find yourself, and those of you who meditate regularly, you know this to some extent, but I'm bringing it up to the extreme, that point where you are, this is only contracted energy, like how this can happen. You need to control the world, you need to control all these people, you need to control your circumstances. That is the pressure, that is the, we're really literally doing that. That is why it's so draining. And so if in that moment you observe that, you expand, because you're also, if you can observe it, you're not there, right? If you can observe all the rock, you're not in the rock. So in the same way, if you can observe your mind, your emotions, and your body having that episode, you're already out. And in the very beginning, may be a fraction. Some of you may have had that, right? Just for a moment, you felt the option, oh, I could be free of this. you're in the middle of that, and you just something, you just like, I could just let go and don't give a fuck. Right? I know for many people that window open and you recognize it. It's just, you probably still, the gravity towards the habit of thinking and the trap of your attention, entanglement, it was so strong that it was just like a little bit, and probably most of the time you miss it. The more you sit and meditate and observe your body, your mind, and your emotions and everything, eventually you get to the point to really have, because it's the most natural thing, it's the thing you've been doing all the time. You go out, you see your body moving, and you see your body moving, and you're talking, and you can't even feel your brain, your mouth moving and making sounds that probably it's just sounds. They just make sense because you understand the language. From someone from a different language will come in here and say, that doesn't make any sound. But we understand each other. Meaning that the more you take off, out, and let it happen without trying to control it, the more you get out of yourself. And just in a very specific way, without going to the extremes of many things that can be said. If you stabilize your attention, I promise you, the ball will come and it will pass right away. It cannot see you. The monster come, as I'm Spanish, so that's why maybe the ball come. It literally, your worst nightmare, I mean, the thing that you fear the most, the biggest devils you have are only fitted by your own attention. So ultimately, the more you tilt towards the awareness of this moment, the more you detach. It's not you stop being aware of it. No, you actually become more aware of it than ever. So you really enjoy everything more. So it's not, I'm saying that you're dissociating psychologically from your personality. On the there's a lot of that in spirituality, big misunderstanding. Now, on the contrary, you feel everything more, which is great. But if you feel your sadness, you're not sad. Does this make sense? Okay, thank you. If you feel the distance, you can not just a little part of your sadness. No, I'm feeling this sad thought, that sad thought. That's, oh, my body now, it feels like this. Oh, we're actually all just moving around a thing. But if you open up, zoom out, and observe the whole thing, you can see all the contour of it. or your sadness and your experience of that, let's say, depression, that frustration. What's the point of your life? What's the point of anything? Whatever it is, you can see the whole thing. You can see all the movements of your mind. You can see the whole movie happening in there. There is a contour, at least a contour of something else that is beyond it. I know this is just an intellectual exercise right now, but does it make sense? So keep dwelling on that opening and letting it happening. And at some point, the worst thing, the worst emotion, the worst experience, the thing you fear the most in this life, the thing you are doing the best to avoid happening in this world, which is actually a feeling, isn't it? The situation that someone dies is not necessarily bad. Sorry. Bad word. The situation that someone dies is not necessarily a sad thing, right? It's just sad because we think so. Losing your job could be a great opportunity, right? Yeah, it's a better losing your job. No, well, okay, just to be more honest, I mean, just like a couple of years ago, my mother died. I damn love my mother. I still love her, but I didn't feel any pain, any suffering. I cried, just out of sort of like reflex. It was more like a liberation, but I never feel bad. I feel happy when I think of my mother. I'm so thankful for having her in my life. I'm so thankful for everything. I cannot feel any other thing. I'm just trying to say that it's a choice. Many of the things we experience is actual choice, right? So, how to get freedom of choice? Get freedom from your mind. Because it's our mind what's tricking us. How you get freedom of your mind? Stabilize your attention. Start from there. The more you stabilize your attention, the more you will grow out of your mind. And your mind will be literally like the cars in the street or the sounds in the pipes in here. It just comes and goes. And with common thought of, oh no, I lost my job. Oh no. And it will come and it will go like in a movie, like a movie you're watching on the screen. Not that inhabilitates you from reacting properly to the situation. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about denying your life or not being able to cope with the situation. On the contrary, you're calm. You're in the best place to actually react from the best of you in the situation. But yeah, the power comes from the detachment. And detachment is just you're not unconsciously, emotionally is the consequence, but you know what I mean? This energy of refueling that nightmare in your head that you cannot stop thinking. You have all these problems. You go for dinner with a friend and you're like, and your friend is like, hey, let's have dinner. What's in the menu? You're like, you don't understand. Or the other way around, right? You're just having a good chill day and your friend is just like, you're saying, hey, can we just chill? Let's watch a movie, you know? And your friend, no, I can't. Because we are trapped. Is that something clear? That we are trapped in our mind? We're not deciding to think our thoughts. We're not deciding how much we react to things. So probably that's where I should leave the whole thing today. Freedom comes out of not getting free from other people, from anything, not even from anything happening to you. It's freedom from yourself in the sense of what you think you are, meaning your mind and your body and your emotions. Sounds crazy to talk like that, right? That is a very direct observation. All of you can observe your emotions, your mind, and your body already. So if you follow that observation, that research, you're going to find that it's an actual fact, as crazy as it sounds. And the reason why to do is because it's freedom. And only with freedom you can really fully enjoy your life. Otherwise, you're just running away. You're trying to control the world. What if you already could feel fulfilled and perfectly at peace and happy already? So good that your plans go the other way around, you still feel good because you just feel good. What if you just wake up from what you thought it was your life and you just notice it was a dream? You're gonna laugh. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your presence with me.